So what you'll need is roughly 4 eggs. Here I have some small eggs, I'm using 4. If you have pretty large ones, use 3. 150 grams of flour, 190 grams of sugar. Back in the day, I think they still use it. It was measured by glasses, so you just take 1 glass of flour and 1 glass of sugar. It was roughly a glass of 250 milliliters. If you say it in Russian, it's then 1 стакан муки, 1 стакан сахара, and that's it. And roughly 3 apples. The reason why I decided to make Sharlotka today is because I had some quite old apples left, but they are perfect for a cake. So here we are. Let's do this. So first of all, let's take a large bowl and a hand mixer. It's quite important that you use a mixer. It can be done by hand, but it's really tricky because you have to get the eggs and the sugar really fluffy. Otherwise the cake will be too dense. Any mixer will do. All right, first of all, let's break the eggs into the bowl. Then take your mixer and mix them up until they're fluffy. There you go. Once the eggs are fluffy, you can start adding the sugar. I'm just going to add a bit and mix it up. And then just continue by adding the sugar and mixing it, adding the sugar and mixing it. There you go. From this point on, you don't really need your mixer anymore. As you can see, our eggs and sugar are quite fluffy. Now it's time to add the flour. For this, I'll be using a pan liquor. I always forget how you call this. A pot liquor. Add the flour and then just fold it in to the mixture. Keep stirring until all of the lumps are gone. You can use a whisk or a mixer at this point, but then you risk losing that fluffy texture of the cake. There you go. The batter is ready. So for the apples, since they are quite old and the skin is a bit not so great, I'm going to peel them. You can leave the skin on if they're fresh and you have washed them thoroughly. It adds a bit more aromatics and flavor to your cake, but that's definitely not a must. So what you want to do for Sharlotka, cut your apple in two again, remove the nasty bits and slice it into thin slices. As you can see, they're not too big, not too small, not too thick and not too thin. And just repeat the process for all of your apples. No! God damn it! So, all of the apples have been cut. Now, let's move on to the cake. Here I have a cake tin, which I've covered in baking paper. You can also choose to butter it in, but I'm more of a fan of baking paper. What you want to do is dump your dump your apples in there. Spread it around. Take your cake mixture and just pour it all over. Now give it a little stir so that the mixture gets everywhere and the apples are nicely distributed. You could also mix this in a mixing bowl, but I think this is more fun. Now let's put it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for roughly 45 minutes to 1 hour. So, roughly 1 hour later, this is the result. I'm just going to leave it to cool for roughly 15 minutes and then we can dig in. 15 minutes later, your cake is done and it's ready to be eaten. I'm just going to cut myself a piece. Oh yeah, almost forgot. If you want, you can always add a little bit of powdered sugar on top. Let me just scoop it out. Oh yes. Perfect. Look at this. The cake is nice and fluffy and it looks delicious and I can't wait to try it.